Hey guys, this is a video to help everyone's at-home training. I plan to make some more of these, so I hope you find them useful. This video is going to focus on the fundamental movements that we do for the primal movement and mobility part of the IMA class. But before we get into that, I've got to get a special shout out to Sensei Renner and his Zeropoint training systems. All the moves I'm going to demonstrate come from Module 1 of the physical prep course. I completed Module 1 back in 2018, and since then I've incorporated most of that content into the IMA Mobility training, and I'm slowly progressing more and more of that in as people get better with it. So, if you want to take your training to the next level while you're stuck inside, and you want to come back to class with greater insight into how and why we do what we do, I highly recommend you check that out for yourself. Rob's got a really great online curriculum and learning course. He's really good about giving feedback and answering questions. So for anyone interested, I'll provide a link to that in the description. All right, let's get started. All right, the first movement we're going to look at is the log roll. Everybody loves this move because we get to start class by laying down on our back. So let's get started. So I'm on my back, relaxed, fully extended, and I'm going to bring my knees up and curl my shoulders and head off to the side and in a little bit. I'm using just enough muscular force to move my knees up and like a small crunch here, but it's going to be a little sideways, okay? So I'm going to let my knees come up and then let them fall over, and as I do that, I'll be curling my upper torso over to the side. So all together, that move puts me on my side. From here, I'm going to push out with my legs, arch my back, and that'll put me on my stomach. In this position, I'm going to do the same process all over again. I'm going to try to pull my knees up through the floor, and that's going to push my hips over to the side. And then I'm going to curl my shoulders in, and that's going to help direct where I go. So now I'm on my side. I will arch my back one more time and extend my legs one more time. And that will put me back where I started. So altogether, it looks something sort of like this. As you can see, I'm not trying to use a lot of muscular force to do the turning. I want to use just enough to let gravity do most of the work. For me, the way I think about it is the legs pumping up and down is the motor that generates the energy for the movement, and then the curling in and extending of the upper torso is kind of the rudder that helps steer the movement. Hope that helps. Okay, next move is going to be the cradle rock. Cradle rock is super important if you want to learn to roll, and I think you'll see why when we get into it. So for cradle rock, what we're going to really focus on is the hips being flat versus tilted. All right, get a little closer so you can see. So here I'm flat, and then I'm going to curl my hips in, and it's tilted. All right, flat, tilted, flat, tilted. Cool. So the whole movement is going to look something like this. Flat position. I'm going to tilt, bring my feet up, let my back go backwards. So I'm trying not to be too concave with the spine. I'm trying to let the hips guide the movement. And then I'm going to go back again, flattening out here. And then I'll tilt one more time to bring my knees up. And then I'll go through the whole movement. All right. So as you can see, if I do this fluidly, which you ought to when you practice once you get the basics down, we have this nice series of moves that will safely lead us into a back roll. And if you do it backwards, you get a front roll. So one of the things I will throw in is sometimes when I have beginners and they have a hard time with the level of control and core work that it can take to do that movement that specifically, I will allow them to do sort of like a fetal position roll, and have a little bit more momentum between beginning and end positions. So if you do have problems with that, I'll show that real quick, and this is what it looks like. We're just going to push our knees out a little bit and pull them with our hands, right? So I have a little bit of tension, nothing too crazy. I'm not like really, trying to flex or anything, but just enough to maintain the structure. And I want to be able to have my feet off the mat. So as you can see, I'm not here. It's all balanced here. I'm going to curl, go over to my shoulders, balance, come back, balance. I really want to focus on being able to balance. If you have to stop here and put your feet down, that's fine to start with. Like I said, this is to make it easier, not to make it harder. But your goal should be, once you can do this, you should be able to progress to the actual regular movement. All right, so one more time, I'll be here. I want to be able to stop at this position and then roll back over when I choose to do it. And the key to catching yourself here really is flattening out those hips, getting those hips from that tilted position to flat. The next move we're going to do is the lizard crawl. So when we're doing that, we're going to be putting our weight on our forearms, all right? And if my left side is extended, I'm going to be bringing my right side together. And if my left side is together, I'm going to be extending my right. So this is where we get to start working on our contralateral movement. All right, quick demonstration. So if I'm here, I'm going to go out, down, pop up, reach my left hand forward, bring my right knee over, right? Down, up, down. So that's the basic. There's a variation that I show because not everyone has the core or upper body strength to do that off the bat. So for that, it's just a basic belly crawl, but it's the same contralateral movement that you're working on. All right, so that looks like this. So I'm just down. I'm gonna still pull with this and push my left foot, reaching out with the other hand, right? So now I'm gonna pull with my left and push with my right. And finally, just for fun, if you think you've really got the fundamental version just mastered and you want a little bit of an extra challenge, I like to make people do the push-up version, which looks like this. I have my weight on my wrists now, so less of like a forearm plank and more of like a typical push-up position. And as I bring one side together, I'm going to go down. I'm not going to touch the floor, just going to go down. And then I'm going to shoot forward, down, forward, down. All right, that's lizard crawl. The next move we're going to do is the shrimp. Shrimp is pretty ubiquitous to any ground fighting martial arts. It's great if you're trying to develop mobility while on the ground, obviously. So what we're going to do here is we're going to work on a very, very slight bridge. I'm not trying to go all the way up. I'm going to save that for the next move when we work on our full bridge. Right now, I just want to get my hips up off the ground enough so that they can go from being parallel to the ground to perpendicular. What I mean by that is if this is parallel, I'm going to stick my right foot out while I brace off my left and just let them kind of slide under like that. Let that right side slide under the left, okay? So again, I'm here, leg out, and just plop underneath. You can do that, then we'll go to the next part where we actually push out with the foot that we're bracing off the ground on. All right, so I'm here, leg goes out, and now I want to slide my hip underneath and then get it all the way up next to where my shoulders are at. So it looks like that. When we do this as a full exercise, you're able to come up, leg out, slide, and come back. Other side, slide, come back. All right. The last move that we're going to do is the bridge. I like to teach bridge and shrimp together because if you have a really good bridge, it'll make your shrimp that much better. So for the sake of a bridge, you only need to get your hips up just enough so that they can move around one another, left and right. For a bridge, we really want to focus on maximizing that arch and really squeezing our glutes and getting our hips as high in the air as we can. So if you want to think about it from a self-defense perspective, with the shrimp, I'm working on moving while I'm on the ground. With the bridge, I'm imagining there's a weight on me, like a person in a mount position, and I want to pop them off as much as I can, okay? So it's real simple. I'm just, heels are pushing to the ground, activating the glutes, really working on that arc. And I want to arch my back and activate my glutes as much as I can so I'm only on my shoulders. Now, at this point, I like to mention, I always make people do shrimp and bridge together because if you have a hard time with the movement part of the shrimp, I will make people just do the bridge and then work on single leg bridges. And so that it acts as a nice transition between one move to the other. So what that looks like is, if I'm struggling with my shrimp, then I'll just do this static bridge and then work on single leg holds, right? And see if I can keep my hips up, not flop over to the side or anything, and just work on the stability aspect of this. And get my glutes strong enough so that then I can start to move around that position. All right, that's all of our fundamental moves for primal movement and mobility training in IMA. Again, special thanks to Sensei Rob. Go check out Zeropoint Training Systems. If this video helped you, let me know. I'll make more. And yeah, stay safe, everybody.